So to those who don't use Twitter, you're lucky. So I use Twitter sometimes. I'm not a diehard advocate or a diehard user of it. It's just really good for furry. Twitter itself has been a cesspool for years, and when it transferred over to X, it got even worse, right? Now, I have a lot of like, just news about going on in the world, and sometimes it's not really major news. It's just like, man shits in a urinal in like Wisconsin, or dude punched a tree and got hospitalized kind of. It's super stupid news that goes on all over the place. But there's one thing that's on my Twitter feed that I never really understand where it came from. It just kind of started showing up one day, and I started to notice a pattern with all of them. A lot of these traumatic videos will tend to have either stake and or rain bet and a couple other gambling sites as a little tag onto them off botted accounts. Like, these accounts are just designed like, oh, fights only kind of accounts, right? Which I don't follow any of them. I think I follow maybe one, but it was because a dude got punched by a kangaroo and I thought it was funny. I remember just followed, just like happenstance. But I find it very, 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 very strange that, TikTok has its form of brain rot. So does Instagram. Instagram is just racist. Snap is just for the sake of messaging folk. But Twitter is almost as bad as Reddit at this point. And I'd argue it's worse. Reddit is at least like, hey, there's a lot of informative shit that goes on around there. It's like, hey, Reddit is, let's make something that everybody who has a specific flavor of autism can categorize themselves with. Like in my case, I'm in the War Thunder and a bunch of other subreddits. Just because it's my kind of autism. My kind of autism's planes, mechanics, aviation, all that good stuff. Twitter is the worst flavors of autism forced into a single timeline and paywall and for some reason paywalled up the ass. But that's besides the point. There is a massive amount of content that goes around on some of those accounts that are like fights only or moments before death only, like these like, you guys might know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not gonna fucking peruse just trying to get one sole example, but if you use Twitter, you kind of know what I'm talking about. You will see Rainbet and or Stake, which are both crypto gambling and gambling sites that have their mark on these videos pretty often. Like the reason I'm making this video in particular is because I just saw a video, because I also like a lot of like police report videos, so I'll watch those sometimes. Like, there's people who will have YouTube accounts that do that, but they post on Twitter too. So like, I'll find their YouTube through my Twitter and I follow their Twitter. And one of them is a police video that was reposted from another account that just so happened to be like replied or some I don't know. I just happened to find it because of another account that I followed, interacted with it in some way, and then it recommended it to me. And I watched it, and it was a video of a woman whose entire family passed away by some random gunman, and she's bawling her eyes out. Like, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, this video isn't to necessarily focus on that video, but the reason this video occurred is because of that video. Like, heartbreaking. She's bawling her eyes out, crying. Like, heartbreaking. And then you realize this is a Rainbet ad. They have their fucking advert tag on the fucking thing. And I didn't really realize it because, like, there's so much else going on. Like, the cops immediately, like, she comes running over them. They're like, what the fuck? And they kind of like, she's like, they're asking you, where is he? Where is he? And she's just saying, over there, he's running. There's so much shit going on. And then when it finally tones down for just a minute, it's a fucking gambling ad. That is the most abysmal piece of shit I have ever seen. Yo, like, they do this across the board on funny videos, on stupid videos, on like anything, and on horrible, tragic videos like this too. It's so fucked up that it is everywhere on Twitter. And now I get it. Twitter itself has kind of made advertising on the platform very expensive. I'm not saying I get it, excuse me. I understand what they're doing to avoid the advertisement bullshit, so they make like brain rot Twitter accounts that get high interaction rates so that they can avoid the advert, like paying for adverts on the platform, because Musk fucking swarmed the fuck out of people trying to, like publish ads on Twitter. But it's so bad to the point where majority of the ones that are using this tactic are usually gambling sites, and they use really tragic moments because, I mean, Biologically, let's get a little sciencey here for a second. Biologically, humans are going to be innately pulled towards tragic moments out of the sake of sympathy within our being. Humans inherently are sympathetic just because if they see another human going through tragedy, you may find some sympathy towards them, or empathy. I always mix the two of them up, towards them, because hey, that could be you, and it's just like, damn, I feel bad for her. And then you start straying off from like, okay, there's the cringe lords, edge lords kind of deal. But inherently, humans are going to be inherently empathetic to people who are in bad situations, just because it's like, yo, that really does suck for them. Now, keeping that in mind, it's like, hey, how can we like cheat advertising and also like cheat the human system? Traumatic video design to biologically keep you intact and still be a gambling ad. And yeah, it's a subliminal messaging ad, so it's not necessarily that the ad itself is what you're watching. You're watching something else that happens to have the ad in it. And that's also a very strong technique, just because over time that can build rapport within your brain, at least. Because it's like you've watched so many subliminal ad messaging through these tragic videos, it's just, oh, hey, that reminds me. I want to check out Rainbet. But like, I'm sorry, if you ever wanted to check out Rainbet after watching a lady get her entire fucking family killed and like, you know, she has nobody left, you got other fucking issues. It is fucking disgusting that steak especially. And you know, this is kind of a different topic too. Mind you, Drake is an active advocate for steak and sponsored by steak. So keep that in mind. El Champagne Poppy is also popping his shit when he's watching women's family die by a random gunman, because hey, steak gives you I'm saying bullshit. I'm spewing bullshit out of my ass. But he is actually sponsored and one of their major partners. So steak does the same thing too. I've been seeing a lot more Rainbet lately, but steak has been doing this for a long time. And can you really do much about it? No, that's the thing that fucking sucks. It's just, and these things are usually done by the companies themselves or by partners of the company. So I found out one thing that's interesting about it is that there's two ways this could happen. I know this is four, but this is two. One, the company itself begins an advert campaign, and well, we'll just buy up spots on random Twitter accounts to get high interaction. Or they subcontract and let people do it themselves to earn a little bit more. So somebody will buy the advert campaign and then go from there to sponsor them. So it's you buy the advert campaign, and depending on the amount of traffic you bring back through your links, which will be integrated with steak ads or Rainbow ads or these gambling side ads, will shine brightly on you. So the whole point is to offset the cost of the contract you just bought. And if you offset it, then they'll probably keep you in the program more, because with the amount you're spending, or well, you're bringing in customers that are spending money and you're still making money to offset the amount of the contract itself. It's a really weird system, and it's not too commonly found just because it's kind of like you have to have constant high flow, because I think the contracts themselves go for like a couple $100. I think it's like $500 for like the smaller ones, or it's like, okay, so it's $500. And per like 100 people, it's like $300 or $400, something like that. So it's a margin where you can make money per each contract. It's just you have to make sure X amount of people are going through and interacting with it. And that is the reason you see these ads so much everywhere. I could be wrong, but a lot of gambling sites and a lot of like sites like those two have done this before, because I have actually seen a similar tactic done by a company I used to work with. Not necessarily work with, I was more of an affiliate of theirs, and then I happened to get a little bit buddy with some of the people who actually worked there, but then I kind of just sputtered out. Whatever. Really weird circumstance, but they did something similar to this where you could buy the contract, and it's almost like a pyramid scheme. Almost identical to a pyramid scheme, but it's the other version of a pyramid scheme. I think it's an MLM, but that's also a pyramid scheme. Okay, it's like, okay, so it's a pyramid scheme, but not, because it's like, yeah, you buy the contract and then you go from there. But apparently you can do directed traffic profit but it's a lot less. So it's like you can do this without even getting the official contracts from them, but it's a lot less apparently or some shit like that, because that was what the company did with me, that I could just direct traffic to them. Well, it was also because I had a code with them and all that shit that I could, like, I used to, I think it was like an energy drink company. I had a code with them and all that. And I don't really fuck with them anymore, but after some like bullshit allegations that they apparently did with their product, and I'm like, yeah, I'd rather not just use that. And I know I'm not even big enough to even have that. It was more so I was using the code myself with what little community even used that code, whatever. But so there was two ways you could go about it, where you can do it without the contract and with the contract. The contract gets you a lot more money because it's, hey, we'll work with you as a partner so that you can direct traffic into us. But also, if you're not a partner, we can't guarantee you as much money. I kind of over-explained a fucking pyramid scheme, but it's kind of like a pyramid scheme with like minor tuned details. But yeah, buy this and and if you bring us customers, we'll get you more kind of deals. It's a pyramid scheme. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, Stake, Rainbet, awful companies. I don't fuck with them. I used to use Stake when I would gamble with crypto a lot. I no longer do that because fuck that. I gamble with cold hard cash now. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Deuces.